Inside prison, survival isn't about being the toughest guy in the yard. It's about knowing the rules no one writes down, but everyone is forced to follow. Break them, even once, and you might not live to regret it. Today, we're diving deep into the unspoken code of life behind bars, the laws that run deeper than steel bars or concrete walls, rules that can mean the difference between walking out or never walking out at all. The first day inside, that's when everything begins. You've just been processed, stripped of your clothes, your belongings, your freedom. But what you don't realize is that you've stepped into a whole different world with its own constitution. No one hands you a handbook. No guard will explain the rules. You either figure them out or you pay for it. Rule number 1. Don't stare. Inside prison, eye contact is never casual. Lock eyes for too long and it's seen as a challenge. Look away too quickly and you look weak. There's no winning, so you learn to master the art of glancing without inviting violence. Respect is currency, and disrespect? That's a death sentence. The smallest action, cutting in line at chow, bumping someone in the yard without apologizing, even sitting on another man's bunk, can set off a chain reaction. Because in here everything is amplified. A whisper can echo like a gunshot. Rule number 2. Don't touch another man's property. His shoes, his radio, even his food. Off limits. In the free world, that might be a mistake. In here, it's war. Another rule that isn't written anywhere. Stick with your own. In most prisons, the yard is divided by race, by gang, by territory. Who you eat with, who you walk with, even where you sit in the day room. It's all dictated by invisible lines. Cross them and you'll pay the price. This isn't about personal preference. It's survival. You might not see yourself as part of a gang, but prison sees you that way. And if you try to go solo, you'll be forced to pick a side whether you want to or not. Here's a rule that rookies learn the hard way. Never take something for nothing. That extra honey bun, that pack of ramen, that "don't worry, I got you." They all come with strings attached. And in prison, those strings can turn into chains. You might think a man's being friendly, but in here, debts are dangerous. Sooner or later, you'll be asked to pay up, with loyalty, violence, or worse. And then there's the rule of rules. Don't snitch. Ever. The moment you're labeled a rat, your life expectancy drops to hours. Guards might try to lean on you, offer deals, push for information. But once word spreads that you've talked, you're done. It doesn't matter if it's true. The label sticks. And once it does, there's no coming back. Every inmate knows the shower is the most dangerous place in prison. There are no guards watching closely, no cameras inside, and no witnesses who will ever admit to seeing what happens. That's why rule number 6 might just save your life. Never linger in the showers. You go in, you clean yourself, and you get out. Fast. This isn't the place to relax. This isn't the place to daydream. It's a hunting ground. If you don't keep your head on a swivel, you might not walk out. In the free world, talking too much might make you annoying. In prison, it can make you a target. Which brings us to rule number 7. Shut up and listen. Loose lips don't just sink ships. They sink lives. The moment you brag about what you did, or worse, what you plan to do, you're finished. Somebody's always listening. Somebody's always ready to use your words against you. Inside, silence is protection. There's another game you're forced to play, one that no inmate can escape. The watchful eyes of correctional officers. Rule number 8. Don't get too friendly with the guards. It doesn't matter how many times an officer cracks a joke or how nice they seem. If the other inmates even think you're cozying up to staff, you're finished. You'll be branded as weak, or worse, as a snitch. That's a label you'll never shake. Money runs the free world. In prison, it's ramen noodles, cigarettes, coffee, and favors. The currency changes, but the danger stays the same. Rule number 9. Never fall into debt. In here, a 50-cent soup pack can cost you months of your life. A single favor today could mean a bloody payback tomorrow. Prison debt isn't about numbers. It's about ownership. The moment you owe, you no longer belong to yourself. On the inside, your reputation is your armor. Rule number 10. Protect it at all costs. If you let someone disrespect you once, cut in line, steal your food, shove you without answering, you've just signed yourself up for a lifetime of being prey. You don't always have to win, but you have to stand up. Because in prison, weakness is blood in the water. Every Friday, the prison economy explodes with one simple event: Commissary Day. It's the closest thing to freedom inmates get. Snacks, hygiene, instant coffee, even music players. But rule number 11 is simple. Guard your commissary like your life depends on it. Because sometimes it does. If you flash what you've got, you'll get tested. Someone will want a piece. Someone will come to collect. Commissary makes men greedy, and greed makes men violent. Nothing defines your time inside more than who you share a cell with. Rule number 12. Never underestimate the man in your bunk. You don't choose your cellmate. You adapt. You learn his habits, his triggers, his tells. You figure out what sets him off and what keeps him calm. Because one wrong move in a 6x9 concrete box, and there's nowhere to run. In prison, the card table isn't just a way to pass time, it's a battlefield. Rule number 13. Never gamble more than you can pay. Men have lost more than noodles and coffee at these tables. They've lost teeth. They've lost freedom of movement. Some have even lost their lives. Because in prison, if you can't pay with commissary, you'll pay with blood. Rule 14. Never cry where others can see. Pain is weakness. Weakness is prey. And predators are everywhere. Every man inside is hurting. Some hide it behind violence. Others bury it in silence. But the one who lets it spill out becomes a target. Because behind these walls, showing pain is like bleeding into shark-filled waters. Knives, shanks, razors, they're not rare inside. But rule 15, never carry one unless you're ready to use it. The moment you pick up a blade, you've made a choice. It's no longer a weapon, it's a promise. And if you hesitate when the time comes, the man across from you won't. That's why the smartest inmates, they avoid blades unless the fight is already on its way. Every man inside wants a job, kitchen duty, laundry, cleaning crews, anything to get out of the cell. But there's another unspoken rule. Don't mess with someone else's hustle. The wrong assignment, the wrong words, and suddenly you're cutting into another man's survival. And in prison, money isn't just money. It's medicine for your family, food for your belly, and protection when you need it most. There's one final rule that swallows all the others. Never forget where you are. The men inside didn't create the system, but they've adapted to it. They've built a shadow world with its own government, its own laws, and its own punishments. It runs on fear, on respect, and on silence. And if you want to make it out alive, you learn fast. So what happens when a man breaks these unspoken rules? The answer is simple. Nothing good. Some are beaten. Some are exiled, living as outcasts in a place where being alone is the deadliest sentence of all. And some never make it out of their cells again. In prison, punishment doesn't come from the guards. It comes from the code. And the code always collects. Surviving prison isn't about strength. It isn't about fighting the hardest or yelling the loudest. It's about knowing the rules no one tells you. It's about understanding that every step, every word, every glance could tip the balance between life and death. These rules aren't written on paper. They're written in scars, in silence, in the eyes of men who've lived through it. The men who never learned them didn't survive to tell their story. And that is the truth about the unspoken rules of prison you must never break.